Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get Out of the Mat of Azure Dreams. Let me know, guys, in chat if you can hear my lovely voice, and we can start as soon as the runners are have their seats confirmed and the countdown's being done. During that time, I am SepticTank. Lady Demi will join me shortly. She's taking care of our runners. But yeah, let's just explain real quick how the match is gonna happen. Oh, I think I've heard Lady Demi join the call.
Yep. We are getting ready. Poulet just has to get on down to the front of Ko's house where all races begin.
Oh yeah, thank you so very much, Lady Demi, for joining me during that tournament match. It's gonna be a fun time. It is our tournament finals, and these are the real finals because last time we had a bracket reset. It is the first time we've ever seen that. But yeah, it's gonna be a great and fun time to see how these runners can actually try and reach floor 40. I don't know if we're ever gonna see that. This is not necessarily something that happens all the time, especially in a finals. You don't want to play slow and safe because your opponent's probably extremely fast. So we might see some riskier strat, shall I say.
Yep, but I think that like if any runners can bring us some good finals luck, some good vibes, and some tower clears, it's going to be these two. Poulet is our reigning champ.
Yes.
Yep, and Septic has been on fire this tournament, even managing to take Poulet down in the previous match.
Oh yeah, exactly. And especially if we talk about speedrunning in general, Septic has been extremely active lately. He has joined second place with a sub 30 time, which is absolute madness, if you ask me. So he is definitely a very good contender, and it's going to be very nice to see these two runners face off. But first things first, maybe explain really quickly. I know most of you guys already know how we roll, but for somebody that would be new to our thing, this is Azure Dreams Rock Me to the Top style racing. This is the name of our format. Really quickly, it's very simple. There is a tower they are entering right now. It is a dungeon in the game. It ends on floor 40, but the game is made so that it's so hard or so complicated to fight multiple enemies that generally you would go in, climb as high as you can. It would probably be floor 6 or 7. Get out and repeat. Go back to town, help the townspeople, maybe make a few friends, and go back in, and probably in like, I don't know, 20-something attempt, at some point you would reach 440. These guys are gunning for doing it in a single entry. Just that is already extremely crazy if you ask me, but they're also going to try to do it faster than their opponent, and that's where the action's going.
Yep, whoever makes it to the highest floor first in their single shot takes point. This is a best 3 out of 5 because it's grand finals. Go big or go home.
Absolutely. And yeah, potentially we do have a 1 hour time limit on a match, so 5 times, well, it could go to 5 games, and maximum 1 hour, that could be a 5-hour type a thing. But if we do go from how it went last time during the finals, but the first version before the bracket reset, it lasted 1 hour and 40-something minutes.
These can be pretty unpredictable. That is why we do 3 out of 5, or for the regular matches, best 2 out of 3. Because the tower is very random. It can at times be especially punishing. It can at times be gentle. So it can be both of those things simultaneously in different ways. For example, that second floor they were just on that we really did not mention was pretty easy going. No traps until this one Poulet just stepped on, but not a lot of good loot either.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that a repelling?
It was. Depending on the tools you get, your run will be wildly different depending on how the enemies spawn as well. But the thing I really start to appreciate a lot more is how risk versus rewards become a balancing act. Every time we discover a new strategy or a new way to tackle the game, at first we're not exactly good at it, so people will try it, it will be very risky, but as we don't start mastering that new tech, pretty much like in every game, and as soon as we start mastering it, actually what happens is we get much better at clearing the tower with that new tool, and we become a little bit faster at it. And when people master that skill, they generally start taking more risk again. And this is a cycle that's going on. So it goes from extremely risky, low rate of success to such a high rate that you're going to start to introduce more risk to be even faster. And that cycles, I think, is very, very interesting. And a specific match against such a good runner as both Septic and PouletSansTete, this is exactly where you want to get some more risk out of what you usually do. Get that cycle a little bit on the riskier side, which, as Lady Deme said, this is gonna potentially make match much shorter because, yeah, you don't want to be slow. You don't want to know that you could have reached 40, but if you just get a message before that saying your opponent got there first, that's kind of
nothing you can do.
Yeah.
If two players hit their highest scores the same, then we're just going to go with whoever got there first. So you have to be there has to be a higher floor for the second person to reach that floor to climb to. And if they make it to the top, there isn't.
Exactly, you are right. And the other thing is, like on floor 40, obviously gets there first, gets the point. That makes sense. But Lady Deme mentions that if they both die on the same floor, then the one that got there faster takes the point, which is great. And you might think, well, how likely is it for both runners to actually die on the same floor? And even though normally it doesn't happen all the time, sometimes you just spawn in such a bad room, in such a bad situation, that actually they will potentially just both die there if you don't have, a tool like a Holy Bell or something like that. And that's exactly in that type of scenario, which you won't know in advance, but it's in that type of scenario you want to be there first. You want to have some advantage over your opponent so that if you both fall in the same place, at least you win the point because you got there.
So we have seen a little bit of difference in the way they are approaching their equipment. Poulet is still rocking that basic sword and that basic shield, but Septic has taken the risk and put on a life wand. I wouldn't be surprised if Poulet does that later, but I think if that life wand was cursed...
There we go.
There we go. Fifth floor is about when things start getting harder, when the game starts expecting you to think about turning you around if you were lucky enough, and I don't think they were this run to have that as an option, even if the tournament weren't there. But this is a looty room.
Wow. And the letters.
Shields.
Wow.
Decisions.
I think you go leather and that life one. Life one is not the best one in the game. If you ask my opinion. Yeah, if you ask my opinion, it's the second best for sure. It's a very, very, very good one. Quite happy to see that anytime. It's just that if you have a one that matches the element of the spell you're casting, in that specific case of Flame Sword, you would want Fire One. You do get a very big bonus in damage. They don't have that right now with the life one, but you do regenerate some health every time you hit. You get 1 health for every 8 damage you deal. So yeah, that's not a lot, but considering how every chip you can get back. Oh yeah, it really, really does. Maybe you kind of need to play with the life one to understand how great it is, but believe me when I say it's much more than you think it is. Lets you go into chain fighting and don't feel too bad about, not having time to regenerate in between each, because you actually do get some good health. Even if it's only, a third of what you actually receive, well, it's a third you have more for the next encounter. And believe me, when the game wants to throw you chain encounters, it absolutely will.
Yeah, it can be rough. You can have a situation where you are just kind of slowly bleeding out, unable to recover, and just kind of die a slow, gradual death.
Death by 1,000 paper cuts, yeah.
Death by 1,000 paper cuts is a little bit of a different scenario. That's more of a, oh my goodness, there are so many tickets scenario.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Here, we're more or less, any one of the things you did were survivable. When there were 4 or 5 of them stacked, it becomes impossible to keep going eventually, and the life wand that is where that particularly shines, getting you out of that type of situation with just a little bit more help.
Yeah, exactly. So we see actually SepticTank reaching the same item room where he's going to get the leather shield. I would be very surprised for him to not equip it. Maybe not right now. Leather shield is very weak. It gives you only 1 defense, and defense is used only in half its value. As to how many HP you actually take less, so it actually prevents 0.5 damage. It's really bad, but it gives you an upgrade chance to dodge. Actually, it pretty much triples your chance to dodge, which is low by default, but I mean triple low is actually still quite nice. And the game scales damage so quickly that any type of shield's defense at some point become 100% irrelevant. So obviously that extra chance to dodge, even though it's still pretty low, around about 10% with the shield, if it can save you,
nice. It'll save you 40, 30, 50 health.
Yeah, exactly. So that's definitely the favorite shield by many runners. The elemental shields can be good if you can match it against the right enemy, because they do prevent a lot of damage compared to any other shield. And we have the leather shield. Oh, but there's a miss after that.
Both misses. Fighting a U-Boat, that's not something
there you go.
Every day.
Leather shield's really paying dividends here for Poulet, because if fight against the U-Boat's not something you want to see. You use the higher elevation to take less damage, deal more damage, dodge twice with the leather shield. And with the life one, he got some HP back, and yet you could see that it was not a fine battle. We were going to see the same thing from Septic.
U-Boats are pretty tough.
Oh yeah.
For where they are in the tower, they are just very hard enemies, but also they're just difficult. Their element match is against your starting element. They just hit like trucks. They're always going to want that first attack. They're not your friends. They're great friends if they can be your friends.
Yes. If you can find a nag, because obviously in this game, this is a monster catching type of game as well. You can get some eggs, hatch them, and get them as a pet. If you bring them home, they are permanently your pet. If you hatch them in the tower, they are a pet only for that climb. But since we will never go back to town, hatching them in the tower for us is exactly the same. It's going to be quotation permanent, because we're never going to leave them.
You only climb once. Oh, that is a lot of U-Boats.
Actually, you know what? I love this. I'm going to use that again. Yoko. You only climb once. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, that would be a great tournament name. Oh my god, this is so good. Sorry about that.
It's alright.
Alright, so that room right now in which PouletSansTete spawned in is terrible. Really, really bad. He used a flame ball charge to get out of that, which makes sense. He's gonna actually use elevation for himself. That's good. Leather shield, paying dividends again. Wow, that's so great.
Yeah, that was nicely done. That was a tough situation. I would not have blamed him for trying to leave the room or work out some alternate strategy. We're going to see how Septic handles it in just a second. These towers are seated, so we'll be able to see the difference in the strategic decision.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's very, very important what you say here. We were talking earlier about if you start in the bat room both, you really want to see, you want to get there first in case something bad happens. Well, in the case of PouletSansTete, you didn't die, but the point stays the same. We have an egg bomb. Yep. So there is a resources where you have a egg which you can actually use to get a new pet. Well, you can also use them as an egg bomb, throwing them at an enemy. It will destroy your egg, but you're going to get a very strong hit out of it. And you could also feed it to your pets so that they recover a lot of MP, which is also very relevant. Eggs are very nice because you can do 3 different things. But yeah, so that's a big resources spent on SepticTank's side, but I still think that was a good way to get out of this.
Absolutely. Got him out of it, didn't have to take the time to fight that other U-Boat. That's time he is going to get a little bit back. So I think he's taking a bit longer to navigate this particular board, and that just comes down to a bit of luck and decision making there. there.
Yeah, because PouletSansTete actually used the star glasses on that floor to get out as quickly as he can. So, yeah, he does
take floors for that.
Yes, floor 9 is definitely a good contender for that use of an item. Star glasses reveals the whole floor to you, but yeah, that does mean that PouletSansTete takes a lot of a lead actually right now. But that also means that Septic still has the star glasses in his inventory, so that could come up. That lead may not be as big as you think it is. Septic might use it later to actually catch up. But yeah, Lady Deme, you said it. Floor 9, absolutely a great choice for the use of that. I think 15 is also a good contender for the Krakens, or at least 14 maybe because there's more of them. But yeah,
I would say that there are more floors that it's a great idea to use star glasses than floors where it's not a great idea to use star glasses. But and Dreamin puts Kuhn to sleep, and we have Poulet just blazing all the way up to floor 12. Now this floor does have the blue collar, an item that allows you to, and unlike Septic, Poulet does still have his Palumpa egg, which could let him switch to water stress if that's a thing he wants to do. We will see, because it'll also take time.
Knowing Poulet, as soon as he'll feel confident in his inventory, he won't want to have a pet at all. He's using Cuny definitely as an early resource, but fighting is slow in this game. But also, obviously, even fighting is hard, but not fighting is even worse. Your chance to reach a high floor without battling at all is terribly low. But as soon as you get a decent-ish inventory, you can actually get out of some bad situation without having a pet at all, and that's the fastest way to clear the tower. Now, you don't want to just be fast and die on floor 15, because Septic will probably reach a higher floor than that. But if you know if you're confident in your abilities to reach very high, ditching your pet is something both these runners are comfortable doing.
Absolutely. And like it's a good skill for anyone to really work on, something I have not much work on, because it's very often going to be forced on you sooner or later.
Yeah. A big difference in their fighting as well has made quite a difference in experience point. Poulet is 2 level higher than Septic. It's also important to note that getting just a floor higher do yield a lot more experience. Like the game really rubber bands. You're leveling up. If you don't climb, you're not. At some point, you're just not leveling up anymore. So that might be the reason behind it. They're not a big difference in terms of floor either. But yeah, 2 levels in difference is actually kind of big. The 6 extra HP is going to help, but most importantly, the defense, the attack as well.
Yeah, both of those scales, and those scale more than with most pieces of equipment, which max out at not very much at all.
Yeah, exactly. Especially the attack. Like, defense in this game is really lame. Because it does, like, if you have 40 defense, you reduce damage by 20. So that's not very good, but the way damage is calculated with Flame Sword, attack power acts as a multiplicative force, so the more you have, it's just exponentially better. Ko is still a very weak attacker, but with Flame Sword, it's actually very decent. So, yeah, absolutely, those level ups might do a big difference in there. And but we gotta say, Poulet used a lot of Flame Ball charge, which I'm not sure Septic has, or anyway, I haven't seen it. So that's resources
not
that
nearly
Poulet
as often.
Yeah,
that is one of the distinctions.
Oh yeah, I think that's where the level ups are coming up.
Wind seeds.
And actually, we see
sides.
We see SepticTank actually take the lead. He's the first one to reach, I think it's floor 14, I could be wrong. Yeah, I think it's 14.
I believe it is, because they just got onto this color palette.
Yeah.
Azure Dreams changes up the background art and color palette.
And we have a Scarlet one. Let's go.
That's
so that was
nice.
Yeah. I mean, you never feel bad about doing a complete run with only life 1, but the only one that's gonna make it better is a one in matching your element. That flame elemental one, the Scarlet one, is so much stronger that the health you're actually getting back was starting to be a little bit on the lower side. A great time to change.
Oh, did Poulet leave it behind? Ooh, that's gonna be a little bit of a regret, though I think he might be getting towards that point where he he might not care
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah,
about
I think
it, but
that's
at the
the
same
point.
time, his inventory isn't that stacked. It's not bad, but there's a lot of empty space there.
But at the same time, when was the last time he actually even attacked at all? Like, I'm not saying he won't, but he's really been using fireball charges, running around, pickup strat. So, I am not sure. Oh, leather shield. But yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not really sure that he does care about the weapon he's got equipped right now. He's been using CUNY to take some heat out of him, whereas Septic is actually fighting a Kraken using the Earth Shield. Did he actually?
A risky decision.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did he knew that the Earth Shield was not cursed?
I haven't seen anything that would indicate that he did. That's just a risk, and an Earth Shield is not a shield you want to be stuck with.
Yeah, and as Rivens point out in chat, it still hurts a lot even with the Earth Shield. Krakens are, like, I don't know who took care about scaling and balance in this game, but I think they had a rough day at the office that day. Wow. Krakens are absolutely monstrous in terms of stats compared to anything else, and most importantly, they just wreck stuff up.
Oh, that's sure a room. We've
Wow.
got a Barong.
Yeah, you can.
Got a whole bunch of things. I wonder if SepticTank will take advantage of having. Yep, gonna pick up that
Take the Barong
and carry him along. That Barong can make anything into anything else.
Yes.
And that has a lot of strong potential.
Yeah, that's the gacha game part of the game. Obviously, you needed to have something similar to that. Yep.
Nice.
Especially since he lost a wake-up herb in exchange for it, which is absolute garbage. So, yeah, very good set his items.
Not bad. Gonna use it as a boomerang. If a monster hits an obstacle and they're not aggro, they will usually turn around. This time that Manweaver did not.
Yeah, because the enemy actually ended up being on the other side, doing the exact opposite of what he wanted it to be. But, I mean, that's good enough. The Earth Shield is actually going to be, again, very good. Wow. I mean, I'm not saying Earth Shield is a good shield at all, and I'm feeling furious.
It's a good shield if it's not cursed. If it is cursed, it's a terrible shield.
Nah. Terrible shield all the time. I will never accept what he's doing right now. But the Barong play, though.
Control what is attacking you. It can be pretty handy to have that elemental defense, but you never want to be stuck with it.
Oh no.
Because you can't necessarily say everything that is attacking me or doing damage to me henceforth shall be water elemental.
Yeah. One of the
there are a lot of strong fire elemental enemies. There are fire elemental damaging trap.
Yes.
Earth Shield makes your life worse in those instances, and so being stuck with it will hurt. It has a niche.
Yeah.
Which is not to be confused with nice as Skifoot Butter.
One of the weird thing about Barong is you find them 3 times in the tower. It's on floor 16, 26, and 36.
Oh wow, this is a party.
Yeah, and they are always of the same level. So this time, the first time you meet them, they're actually way higher level than they should be. They're not a strong enemy per se, but they're so much higher level than you are that it actually could be a problem if you let them fight you. Which really, realistically never happens, but you know. And they do give a lot of experience if you actually kill them. So even though they didn't have any NP and Septic brought them to the elevator room, it actually took time to kill the thing because the XP it gives is so big.
Oops.
That
Poulet did not intend.
But again, leather shield doesn't even matter if you made a small mistake. Alright, star glasses.
Never punish.
You got a star glasses, so he's gonna get different items because it didn't make the same amount of step.
Oh,
Scarlet one already identified.
This one.
Yeah. Already
items
identified.
Wrong cannot be cursed, and that's pretty nice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think even if you get a dark sword, it's not cursed, which is very weird, but also very nice. Because dark swords are always cursed, but I think if they come from a Baron, they aren't. Or they aren't identified and cursed, but you know? I don't remember. It's been a while.
Meanwhile, oh dear, a spider.
Yep.
Over on Septic side, that's not going to be fun.
Spiders are
Those
extremely
things-
scary monsters. They hit like 5 track tape together with duct tape, and the worst part is they actually have a trick that doubles their potential max attack power. If you have an item that recovers that status. Oh wow, okay. And that's
Let's
with
hope
an
that
Earth Shield
killer
on.
ball's enough.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
it is, yeah.
with an Earth Shield.
Yeah.
So there we go. Okay, but there is not much else Septic can do here.
Trap
Septic-
loop, I love that idea. Just making sure that if you start running around in a way, especially with the Earth Shield on, please make sure that you at least know where you're stepping up.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
Right. Mana Weavers are pretty easy to lose. They have a smaller aggro range than most monsters.
Oh yeah, they're blind as
And
mold.
so, once you are out of their immediate line of sight, they will forget you ever existed.
Alright,
It is
some
pretty great.
some monster manipulation on SepticTank side. Very simple and efficient way to make sure that you don't have to fight all the time. So yeah, you will want to find the elevator soonish though, because you're going to be spending sometimes, manipulating the monster. One of the things that I think a great runner will do, and I know both of these runners knows that, there's a maximum numbers of monster on the floor at the same time. When it reaches 13 monsters, the game stops spawning them until one of them is killed. As soon as you know that, and you also know that the floor will not start with 13 monsters spawned in, they'll generate more as the longer you stay on the floor. It means that you really want to leave a floor as quickly as you can, because it's just gets worse. And at some point, the floor is just littered with enemies everywhere, and that's definitely not something you want to see.
Meanwhile, this starting room on Septic's side, not great, but at the
No.
very least, Septic has the elevator right there.
Exactly. He's
Get
fine.
out of that track.
If the elevator was not in the room, it would have been a terrible room to be in, but actually it was a very nice one. Could just pick up at a good trap loop, which is definitely something you want to see. Oh, Oli Bell? Really? Wow. Okay.
Really?
Once
This is
pick up that loop.
that close to the entrance. I'm not sure if that was worth it, but I guess
Yeah.
that loop could have been anything.
Yeah, I really wanted to make sure that he's not gonna, I guess the loop was just juicy enough for him to want to go for it, and also get some leeway and just not being confined into that one corridor and then getting a chance to be pincered, I assume. But that was still
Yes,
a very
like that.
trigger-happy way of using
Goes
it.
for the pickup.
Yep, there we go.
Manages to get it, and they both go walking on the lawn.
Oh yeah. Septic is in the lead still. Very nice lead as well. Only floor 18 for PouletSansTete. I think the pickets are starting to be almost everywhere. And they're a pain to deal with because they steal your items and teleport away with them. So I assume there was at least one item PouletSansTete lost that he wants to get back. So that can be a little bit on longer
Very
side.
possibly.
Yeah.
Luckily, they will want to taunt you. They'll keep coming back to try and taunt you.
They really do, and that's such a weird AI. They come down right in melee with you and then turn around and just with their weird, creepy smile and then run away with your item again.
It's that double move. If it's that haste effect, they know they can get away with it.
Yeah,
They know.
exactly. It's terrible. I was gonna say, do you put the Palumpa down? Which didn't even proc the trap. It's so sad.
It's
We ac-
very sad.
We actually have discovered that monster will not walk on trap and trigger them unless you are, I think it's like 7 or 8 tiles away. Like if you don't see a monster walk on a trap and they do walk on a trap, they won't trigger it.
That makes sense. Makes sense. Like, you wouldn't want all of... I mean, okay, you, the player, would want all of the traps to be triggered at the time.
Yeah.
But you, the developer, wouldn't want the traps to be all triggered ahead of time by the time the player gets
Exactly.
there. That wouldn't
Exactly.
be any fun.
Yeah. But it's still something we didn't know. It's been discovered very lately, which is very interesting, honestly. The point you make, Deme, is definitely, I think, reasoning behind it. But wow, Septic with the pickups. And against Vipers as well, he's not scared of anything.
It would also, on a functional level, will slow the game down a bit to always be running that.
Yeah.
Since it works in a way as a little bit of like a draw distance in a sprite-based game, yes, people, kind of effect. Things which you're not near stop existing quite as much as things near you.
Yeah.
Also,
I was gonna say,
getting a damage reduction. Those lifts, every once in a while, don't work out the way you want them to. He's been having some really solid luck. Probably a leftover from trading damage plushie who had some absolutely stellar pickup luck earlier in the tournament. Just alike.
Which really, really was impressive for sure. Right now, SepticTank's luck. Oh, the Earth Shield and a bomb trap! I knew it! Don't! Worst shield ever! Had to talk about it. Yeah, the run is not ended yet, but damn it! I knew it! You always forget it on.
Bad luck.
Yeah, you always forget it on at some point. So Earth Shield is an elemental shield. Elemental shields, I'm gonna say it only once. You can take a note in your calendar. I'm fine with that. They are absolutely great. Defensively against the right monster, even the Earth Shield. Okay, I've said it fine. But, the only traps and spells that deals damage in the game are either non-elemental or fire, and you do take extra damage if you have the wrong shield equipped. So obviously, having an Earth Shield on and all the damage being only fire makes it so you take so much extra damage. That bomb trap probably would have hit for like 15 or 16. It hit for 40. So yeah, he didn't die, but wow, that was really, really rough.
We're getting close to the part of the tower where you get stealths, a floor or two up, and walking around with that 6 HP.
Yeah, you are absolutely right.
His run would be absolutely out of his own control.
Yeah, so stealth.
Just be down to luck.
Yeah, stealth are wind elemental, which wind and earth in this game is the same thing. So you wouldn't take extra damage from the stealth with having the earth shield on. But the point you make is having just low HP for no matter the reason, and the stealth floor is terrifying. They don't hurt too bad, and luckily they don't because they're invisible. But just walking around, yeah, exactly. So you walk around, you have 6 HP, everything's going fine, and then suddenly, bang, you're down. Go back to the barrel to take a little bit of a shower, and next run.
Yep. Ooh, egg. That Viper is going to go directly for that egg.
Yes.
And I would not be surprised to see Septic
pick up,
full advantage of that.
Oh yeah. So
I don't really beat it up personally, but
works as well.
What do you think's in that egg? Best case scenario is probably a block, I want to say.
I don't know. I don't know anything that's going to be good right now. Yeah, maybe a block, but even that, I don't think you take the time to add shit to
it's
what
not
it is.
A super exciting possibility. Just some minorly exciting possibilities.
Yeah. Casually, there's a lot of interesting choices right now that you could get, but for speedrun purposes, yeah, absolutely nothing would be what you're looking for right now. So, yeah, PouletSansTete took a big hit from that Vipers. They are very scary, but the paralysis or binding balls made sure that he could make and deal good damage against the enemy. We have a big Peter Fruit. Oh, not even refreshing CUNY's MP. I guess that they Septic just don't care about CUNY too much at this point, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, at this point, CUNY is outgunned in basically every way by basically everything, and that's just like
wow,
that's
instant
sad.
Regret.
True, a strong egg bomb could still be useful. You could always use it in place of a Peter Fruit if you're like that.
Yeah.
And pressured. There's a lot you can do with an egg that's always going to be there for you.
Oh, absolutely. So floor 27 already on SepticTank side. That's actually quite impressive. We are at floor 27 at... oh, and he's going to use a warp trap. There you go. We're talking about crowd-pleasing moments. Using warp traps with your pet when you see them is actually pretty dangerous. But it can lead in you finding the elevator quicker than you should.
Yeah, it is. It is a chance for writing the random elements of this game for all of their worth. Oh, that's amazing.
That's actually where
items
the Earth
cannot
Shield
spawn on elevators. That is the sad truth of the matter.
I think Earth Shield is actually out here.
Such a thing. Yep. You knew that.
Let's just scroll. There we go.
Oh, but that's going to complicate using the elevator.
There we go. Go back in, and then he's gonna get confused though.
Yeah, that's not a great situation to be walking onto the next floor with.
Sure, but you can still use balls at least when you are confused. You might have an anti-chaos as well. I don't remember.
He just threw it at the Manueva to
Oh,
test
no.
that it was there.
Oh, no.
Luckily, never punished for that. Never punished, apparently. Yes.
Nice. So yeah, Manivas, it's the final time I think we see them. They are definitely a scary enemy. Yeah, they're blind as a mole, but they definitely can be a pain because they can transform into items and then they can block corridors or path or whatever. Arachniag, you know what? Actually, that would have been hype.
That would have been hype. That would have been okay. The best thing you can find on that floor.
Okay, SepticTank is fighting against Annapolis. Very bad choice. Now, luckily, it hasn't been too long since the floor started, so you know that their health is not full. But they start at 90-something health, and they regenerate up until they get to double that. So they can have a high of like 180-something health. It's really, really stupid. The closest to that is not even 100, I think. So yeah, Annapolis are... The longer the floor goes on,
trait the way the Arachnes do. They have like a double HP, while Arachnes have doubled attack.
Yes.
But attack doesn't regenerate. HP does. That's the difference there. Imagine the horrible nightmare that floor 18 would be if attack regenerated.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And since defense counts only for half of its value in terms of damage reduction, but HP counts as 1-to-1, obviously, in terms of how much defense can get out of it. If the combat is not gonna last for 3 hits, HP is actually better than defense in that sense. So yeah, Annapolises are extremely tanky. Wow.
Another Nueva.
Oh yeah. But Septic is in a bad spot as well. He might have a good lead, and he does. Oh, my health seed, I think, is going to be very hype here. He's going to take 1 hit, 40-something, and then he's going to move on. There we go. My health seed hype. Now
this is an unfortunate bit of timing here.
Yeah, I was going to say. Okay, binding. All right. He's going to... Sorry.
It's all right.
He's going to let the...
the
other one
pass on by. You take that advantage, and now he's kind of sandwiched between them.
I was gonna say the danger is that one of them could fall asleep. Oof. Okay. Back to the drawing board.
Yep. Back to the gradual struggle to survive. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a clear view of what floor Septic is on at the moment. It's not too distant. It's either this floor or the next one. If the Annapolis falls asleep, it's not going to keep moving, but it could wake up and attack in the same turn.
Yeah, they have a special ability. They have a special ability that they can wake up and attack on the same turn. Yeah.
Danger.
So
there.
He was hoping to be
plan, more or less, revolved around them not doing that.
Yeah. He wanted to be not necessarily sandwiched, but in the middle of both of them while not being aggroed by any of. And that was fine. He was in the middle, but none of them was actually aggroed at the time. So you could probably find an exit somewhere to actually, you know, oh, he's gonna get hit bad by the Manivas here. And I don't know that he can take a hit.
Yeah, with that HP, it's not looking good.
Wow.
I don't know. Okay, so it's the one next to it.
Yeah, that's a lot of fruits in the same room, and obviously one of them has to be a, okay,
I mean,
binding.
it's technically possible that neither of them are, but it's so unlikely.
But paralysis will work here. You want that to be a tuna fruit? Or roche, I guess? Oh, Liva is not it.
Yep, that was an unfortunate struggle. Throwing away a good fruit to get a bad one.
There we go. Some regeneration. Luckily, he's found the elevator. SepticTank will be out of that hell. But back into the frying pan as well. I think he's reaching 29 where Poulet is? Or is he gone for 30?
He might be on...
Oh, he is gone for
30. Here we go.
Oh, there we go.
So he has a fairly slender lead at this point.
Yes.
It has shrunken down to 1/4.
Yeah, exactly. It's very close. And go up trap. There we go.
There we go.
And we're going to get to see Beldo, unless Beldo overslept today. Did he oversleep? No, I don't see any monster. Yeah, there we go. Beldo is here. He's going to give us some story exposition, something very simple. Hey, I killed your father. Come and join me on 440. Let's go. And yeah, we have an incentive even more to reach 440 now. This floor is definitely dangerous due to not only having those Naplises again, but having also killers, the guy with the accents. Yeah, this guy. Well, not Frog, but
the Frog is just your new friend.
Yeah. Killers,
what happens
very hard.
If you're holding if you pick up a frog and then it turns into something that you cannot lift.
You cannot pick the frog then. It doesn't change.
Okay. Yeah. The game has thought of my question before I thought of it. Good for it. Oh, leather shield coming in clutch.
Wow, what a room! Okay, we were talking about getting somewhere first. We were talking. Oh, and he doesn't have the Oli Belly used earlier. If Poulet has that might be huge.
Seed, but he's also backed into the corner.
So you need
and
what?
Goes Kuhn on Poulet's side.
Oh my god. Okay, he's thinking, and he's gotta think. Cuny's not surviving that. I'm telling you that right now. He's gonna sacrifice the pet as quickly as he can. Okay, take a hit. Oh, breath is not too bad. 36 is not too bad.
Yeah, that could be worse.
But he needs to not be aligned with any other. Oh, that was risky. And if he moves again, he takes a hit from Ursula. Okay, that's good. It's hype! Let's go! He's off! Wow!
He just barely managed that.
Can you freaking believe it?
Landing.
9.8.
Really impressive.
Oh yeah, 9.8 for sure. What a play. Let's go, SepticTank. Okay, Glacier. He needs to not aggro the...
bad at this point.
Yeah, exactly. They don't deal too much damage, but he's on 25, which is extremely low. So that monster manipulation, again, extremely beautiful. The problem is monsters tend to have a general direction. That's not always true. Go on. Oh, Poulet died! Oh, wow!
Down. Okay.
Oh, no!
While we were dealing with it, while we were watching him recover from that nightmare room, Septic scored the first point.
There you go. Wow. Okay, this is definitely very interesting in terms of a first round. Both plays are extremely good plays on both sides. Very exciting, especially the ending. Wow. That's a match?
Yeah, we can see. So we generally would allow Septic to try and clear a few 1-2. This is still the early 30s, so like,
yeah, I think we're
close, certainly doable. But also he could try and rest, recover his strength, etc. for round 2.
Yeah, I think we're gonna move on. If they are in the late 30s, I guess that's definitely something we want to see. But that could still be long. He's not on a god inventory either. So
yeah.
I think we'll move on, especially to keep the rhythm and not let Poulet, cool off too much. keeping that energy and that heat is generally better. Yeah, highest floor win or getting top to the top first. Revan says it's exactly that. Yeah, it's one try. It's one try. Get what you can, and if you do end up higher than your opponent or getting there first, you take a point. Best of 3, like Lady Deme said earlier, so we're gonna get to see that.
Best 3 of 5.
3 of 5, sorry. And the most important thing here is we don't want people to, it is speedrunning, so we don't want people to just save strat up to 40, take, time to grind, stuff like that. So we also put a 1-hour time limit to keep people on their toe, and it works wonderfully. People are always striving to go as quickly as they can. Even though these two guys doesn't need an upper limit timer, they just go fast naturally. But yeah, the 1-hour time limit worked very well to make sure that people always try to go as quickly as they can. And getting somewhere first breaks a tie is also a good incentive to go fast.
Yep.
So we're gonna reset our setup real quickly. Poulet is already on seed screen for the second seed. Can I just confirm that real quickly?
I'm going to quickly run and get a drink. I will be right back.
So in terms of seeds, all right. If you have any questions in chat, feel free to feel it to us. We'll make sure to let you be in the know. We have done a lot of tournaments. We do repeat the rule set once in a while, but it's always nice to see new people actually coming in and experiencing the Rock Made to the Top style tournament for the first time. And we love to be able to let you in how we do things. It is a little bit of a different type of speedrunning, I guess. But it's very nice because this is a roguelike game, extremely volatile, extremely random. It makes it very exciting all the time, and it also requires a few different rules, I assume. We are obviously not the only roguelike that's got a speedrunning scene, but the fact that we do seeded runs, as in they both play the same tower, obviously for terms of balancing and fairness, it's more fun. But it's also seeds they've never played before. They're not made by them. So for them, it's a very normal run. It's just the fact that at least their opponent's going to face off the same challenges. So it's not necessarily, obviously, just somebody gets a bad tower, the other one gets a good one. And that's the deciding factor between who's going to win it or not. We're going to get to see SepticTank being on the right seed as well. Just confirm that. Excellent. And they are going to get to go in front of Ko's house. This is the moment where we actually start the speedrun. So they get to rename Ko if they feel like it before the timer starts, so they can do that. Sometimes they will, shout out someone or throw some shades, which is also very fun and done in good faith in our community. But they can also do that for CUNY, though that is done during timer, because you do get CUNY a little bit later. So we're going to get to see both our runner reset, set up, and be ready. Can't wait to see them, and we're going to count them down for the second match of the grand finals for Azure Dreams Rock Me to the Top style tournament.
Okay, I am back. So let's see. Septic seeds. Good.
Yep, I confirmed both seeds. They're both okay.
I don't see a message from you about septics.
Yeah, I sent them a private message for absolutely no reason.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Ready for Septic moving forward and getting to Ko's house. And then a quick countdown, and we'll be ready for race number 2. Can't wait to see both our, champions in trying. I don't know.
In our hearts.
In our hearts. Oh, that's so beautiful, actually. But yeah, both our potential champions match, their second match. Yeah, SepticTank gets the first point, but we all know that PouletSansTete has a great shot. He's our reigning champion. Last tournament, he was extremely I don't want to say oppressive, but I mean, he was so good, and I don't think he ever even lost a match before the finals. And he did win the whole thing. But Septic has been extremely impressive during this specific tournament, that I can absolutely see him win the whole thing. I mean, the last finals before the match. Yeah, exactly, and commendingly so. So yeah, can't wait to see both these runners go for the second run. Um, yeah, we're gonna do the same thing as we did last time. Generally, floor 1 to 5. When they start the game, is gonna be, you know, setting up and trying to get some good gear, some good item.
Countdown time. So we will see them off. What stream delay has caught up to the 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we add like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then delay.
10 seconds to account for this. Stream is a funny thing sometimes.
Oh yeah. So both our runners are gonna explore those first 5 floors. The first one is always gonna be what we call tutorial floor, even though we did change it a little bit. This is only a quality of life. Generally, floor 1 would be that long-winded a space where CUNY explains everything. Oh yeah.
Okay, not everything.
No, but
Dreams is noticeably opaque.
You're right, actually. Yeah.
And frankly, somewhat confusingly, parts of the tutorial exist that you are not guaranteed to see. For example, Kyun can explain picking up and throwing things, but if you don't pick up anything, he's not gonna do it. So he will only tutorialize picking up things if you know how to pick up things.
That's right. That is absolutely right. So, alright, so I'm getting some shout out. I'm getting some shout out from Pula right now. He named this CUNY SK in what I assume to be screaming fashion, which is fine. But yeah, we did remove that part of the game. It has been replaced by exactly the same floor layout with the same items on it, but they've been streamlined. You just need to walk forward 5 times to gather all of them. And then we also moved the elevator earlier on, and we made CUNY shut up, so he doesn't explain to you. Well,
Very
at least,
nice.
Yeah, that's very nice. You can only take so much of listening to CUNY explain that kind of thing. It also makes much more sense, and it's much more interesting for you people in chat to watch it. It's much more entertaining, less downtime, and obviously the game really starts when you reach that floor 2. That's when
And
at
we
least
start
something.
seeing the randomness kick in.
Yes, the deciding factor. Like, nobody dies on floor 1. Nobody forgets to pick up something. No action that was getting out of that. So we just removed it. Quality of life thing, and I think it's really, really nice. It looks like a simple
this is
thing.
a bad situation.
Wow.
For Walking
You actually
right into that flame with that first level, that is not a thing you want to see.
okay. You need to fireball. Oh my! I don't think the gold. Yeah,
Sword
the
is gonna
direct.
do it now.
Direct is good, but oh yeah, okay, 17. Yeah, that's enough. Wow, just so.
Very nicely done, burning
Yeah.
no significant resource. That is some quality skill runner, because an early flame before you get that first level up can and will destroy you.
Yeah, and the worst part is if you kill one, you don't even get a level up. You get 2 XP shy of your first level up. And fighting a troll, which is obviously weaker, even though it can be dangerous in some extent, they do give more experience points. So you always want to see a troll first, never a flame, and everything else is just a waste of time. But at least it's not dangerous. Flames are very scary.
Either way, they have gotten out of that first little neck of the woods, that first stand of trees at the edge of the forest.
Absolutely.
So
So,
there is no out of the woods in Azure Dreams. There is
No.
only more woods.
oh, yeah. I was gonna ask if SepticTank would actually consider equipping the fire sword, and luckily it's not cursed, and it's also a very good weapon. Wands gives you a bonus to mix magic. If the wand is matching element, you get also a bonus. The flame sword does not give the initial wand bonus.
but it does
Yeah.
give a matching element bonus, and that's
Oh, yeah.
pretty good.
Oh yeah.
It's certainly better than, like, having no bonuses of any sort.
Yeah, and also, like I said, attack acts as a multiplier in the damage calculation here. So a sword has 5 attacks instead of the 1 from the wand. So that's actually a big factor as well, especially early on. Later on, maybe not so much, but early it's very, very strong.
He will be able to pretty much just blaze his way through these first couple of floors. That's not going to keep him going, oh, that's bad.
Oh, yeah. At least it's early.
Go wrong. Yeah, and he knows where Kuhn is. That is always why you want it to be using that warp trap. So maybe he can make it there in time.
Yeah, at least Cuny's gonna win his fight. Yeah, that's the big difference here, but that could have still been scary. Like, maybe 2 Cyclones would have been enough to clear that Cuny really easy. Even maybe just the 1, because they do have a lot of HP. Even though Cuny has the elemental advantage.
Ooh, fire crystal.
Alright.
That's nice. Yeah, there are a lot of monsters that are fairly manageable until the right set of circumstances come along. Really, it's not that there are easy monsters and there are hard monsters. There are just monsters that are easy in normal circumstances and monsters that are not easy in normal circumstances.
Who is not that walked onto the same trap, the warp trap, but did get warped somewhere else? Instead of reaching back to Cuny, he actually was lucky enough to find the elevator. He didn't get to explore the floor too much, so he won't get Eye Crystal or Fire Crystal in that specific sense, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Fire Crystal personally. But yeah, he takes a little bit of an advantage here. It's not too bad, yeah, early on. Yeah.
It becomes worse the higher up you go.
Yeah, it never scales.
That is just a fact. The monster it summons does not scale, and frankly, does not play nice or cooperate in any significant fashion.
No. But for maybe against blooms or U-boats, that could be kind of a very nice item to have. But after that, it does start slacking off a little bit. So those 5 first floor are gonna end soon. That's the final floor for both of them. After that, we're gonna reach floor 6. You're gonna know, because it's gonna become like a grassy terrain type thing. Every monster is gonna start becoming water instead of the like broad array of all types, and that's not good because we have a fire setup, which we almost always have starting off. And yeah, the enemies will become a little bit too much to handle.
Septic's chief advantage here is a fire sword, and that's not gonna help that much either.
Yeah, exactly. It's still decent enough that he could fight a few of them, but you don't want to chain them in any way, shape, or form, especially U-boats. Well, nobody wants that, but especially Septic, it's not going to help too much. So you want to jump away from those floors as quickly as you can. If you want to grind at any point, you're going to do that once you reach floor 10 and every monster becomes fire. They're worth A, a lot more experience, and B, they're surprised, even though they're higher level, because you don't have elemental disadvantage, they're not tougher. They're roughly they're roughly the same difficulty, but you're gonna get like 4 times the XP, if not more. So that's where you want to grind, if anything. If not, just move on. Ignore.
Cure Herb, that's nice. Especially since they haven't really found any good equipment.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Can cure the curse status if they find some better cursed equipment.
You don't feel too bad about risking equipping items willy-nilly if you have a Cure-All Herb. You still need the Decur Scroll as well, but I mean, that's actually very nice.
Yeah, that can come in handy.
SepticTank luckily didn't wake up the other bloom, but wow, that first one did a number on him. They are both in the same room almost at the same time. SepticTank does have the advantage of getting there first. But I mean, that's
just
neck and neck.
a couple of seconds.
Yeah, and Poulet was not as lucky. That second bloom woke up right away. That's a big difference. Oh yeah, it really is.
A single bloom. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, I'm sure the folks at SpeedGaming appreciate it.
Absolutely, thank you so very much. So we are seeing PouletSansTete having much harder time against those blooms, but he did get the better out of them. It did cost a few fireball charges, I guess it was 2. They are definitely scary.
One bloom is about manageable under normal conditions. A second bloom makes this not normal conditions.
Yeah, especially in a pincer situation like SepticTank just got out of, or in the starting room.
Hi.
Wow, he takes the hit.
Yeah, he could have danced that one long. Poulet is feeling feisty today.
Oh yeah, he needs to not miss because that's not helping. He is
on a very slim margin here.
Really? Wow. And swords are not as accurate as wands as well. Okay, yeah, medicinal herb. I think that's the play here. Making sure that he's not gonna die to just a unlucky miss. Even though it's really not that. Like, I think it's at worst 90-something% chance to hit. And we have a sleep trap. Wow.
Oh, that's...
Cuny is gone.
Not been a kind seed.
Wow.
You were really putting your all into this one.
Well, these are a Send Night seed for sure.
Available.
Wow, so I think, from what I gathered from chat, I think that's actually how we died last time as well, no?
I think it's very likely.
Man, he's gonna hate me so much.
That can be rough. And a malicious spell. The saddest spell.
Early on, I do like on floor 2 or 3, I actually do like a malicious spell to level up the enemies so they give more experience to me when I fight them. But yeah, after floor 5, you don't want to see those at all, for sure.
And looks like Q went down while he was napping. That is unfortunate. He's gonna have to be sprinting pretty fast. Luckily, the floor layouts have allowed him to do that here.
Yeah.
And we will switch audio because he has taken a narrow margin of lead. But fighting is now not much of an option, and those inventories aren't that stacked.
Yeah, we're gonna get to see what we call the commando factor, the fact that when you don't have a pet, you actually go much faster. But the problem is, so if you say, well, if they go faster when you don't have a pet, why do they keep or use any of them actually? Is the success rates of your runs are gonna be much, much lower. Not saying you can't win without a pet, they absolutely both already did at least once, or actually many times, but it's not tournament safe, and you gotta have some safety in a tournament. Yeah, you could probably reach floor 15 extremely quickly, but what does it matter when SepticTank will reach 16 very easily using Cuny, right?
Right. That is the challenge of things. If you live fast, you're more likely to die young. That's just how this works.
So you don't want to dump Cuny too quickly either. You want to use Cuny as a renewable resources, or at least a long one you can use for a long time before, and use that time to build up a good inventory, some level, and when you feel confident about running Cuny-less, and maybe that will just never happen during your whole run, but when you do, just dump him or bag him or whatever, send him back home, and then you can use the resources you have to actually run Commando. But yeah, Poulet didn't get a choice in here. Sleep Trap made him, you gotta run Commando now. And I don't think he felt confident about running Commando yet with his... Actually, the inventory is not terrible, but yeah.
It's not terrible. Ooh, egg on Septic side.
Oh, that's gonna be...
did not get that, and I bet he wishes he had it.
Well, that can't be a Garuda, but that can be a U-boat for sure. This is definitely what they would be looking for.
Could be a clown.
Yes.
Either of those would be pretty good.
I don't know about clown. I think if he takes the time to add shit, he will maybe use it, or at least fuse it into Cuny, which is probably more what I would do. But I don't think this is something he's looking for realistically. Even though it's really, really strong, it's not necessarily very fast. So I think both these runners are to the point where it's just too slow, even though that's casually probably one of the best bet, if not the best bet ever.
Yep, and of course the fact of the matter is, it's still an egg barn that Septic has, and Poulet does not.
Oh yeah. It could also be the best monster ever, the Bloom, obviously, Orlando, but yeah, maybe people will disagree with me on that one. It requires a lot of setup. The payout is very slow, but it's kind of safe.
It's a good payout.
Oh, we get the true glasses. It's MVP
which could be
driven.
an MVP, which could be an MVP. But
Yeah.
at least we don't have to feel too bad for Poulet. Dreamin' could work out. We have seen it work out in this tournament.
It
but
really
it's
can.
a special creature.
Yeah, we did run the numbers. We did run the numbers behind the scene after that match where Poulet was putting everything to sleep. Like his best numbers was around about the 40%, and most of his try was in like 15 to 20% chance to be successful. He was extremely lucky. Don't do that at home. I gotta put a disclaimer here. Don't try using a Dreamin' at home. That was a one-time thing. That was the MVP.
Oh, he goes for the spell ball and still gets to go to floor 12 without
That's one of the skill that I actually learned from playing Second Tower in Azure Dreams. You know, that hidden tower that the developer never actually put in the hand of the player, but using some, you know, shenanigans, you can actually reach. The thing, and there we go, hit again by the go up trap. The thing you learn by playing Second Tower is always walk on items. Yes, sometimes due to some errors in coding, it can happen that traps are under items, but the game is not supposed to do that ever, so it's very rare that it happens. If you're going to go through a room, walk on items all the time. That will prevent some traps from spawning, from you know.
Yeah, that's a neat little thing to do. It's very slow, but if you're desperate, if you have a mighty need,
it's not necessarily slower. Just, you know, use the stutter stepping technique to walk on the items without picking them up, and you can actually walk at normal speed. It's just a little bit safer. It requires, you know,
right. In this case, though, that wouldn't have helped. Because of the fact that there was not an item that they could walk on there.
Yeah, there was 2 coins besides the spell ball, so they would not have hit the go-up trap.
Oh, was there? I did not see that. Oh well.
But again, you know, simple stuff. You know, go-up traps is not a bad thing at all. But it's just the fact it was beside a spell ball that could have been good, also could have been terrible. So, you know.
Yep. Using that binding ball to form basically a blockade in that hallway.
So binding balls always only last 4 turns, but at least you know how many turns it uses. And yeah, Poulet's in a bad spot right now. Wow. That binding ball is being used really, like pretty much every time. Yeah. It's a very good tool, but again, that tool is going to dry up very soon.
It's not going to last forever.
Ouch! No leather shield this time.
No, anything really. And there's not another hit that Poulet can stand to take here.
Oh yeah, that's not going. Oh, wow.
I think all Septic has to do is leave this floor, and he will get the second point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it will be time for Poulet to fight for this championship.
And the sleep trap definitely was the problem here. That killed CUNY early. Put Poulet in a very bad situation where he needed to always thin up and use all his resources. So that's definitely was the problem here. Everything else he did was actually pretty decent. Very nice play, but at some point there's just nothing you can do. Getting pincered 5 times in the same corridor against enemies you cannot hope to win against. You're gonna use whatever you have, but it's gonna thin out really quickly, and the game is just pumping up enemies. Well, actually, you know what? That's a kinda not necessarily good for Septic either.
Oof, that is a lot of enemies.
He's got enough resources, no question, but he's gotta use them right now because, wow.
And he does not know that all he has to do is leave his floor.
Bump
so
trap!
Bump
trap made him lose the not having the griffin in his hands anymore.
the bump trap did something for once.
Can you believe it?
Amazing.
All right. And that's floor is that he was on 13, so as soon as you reach 14 is good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that 14?
Yep,
It is.
Yep, it is.
GG. So second point to SepticTank again. PouletSansTete did the best he could, but again, that trap, that sleep trap was on both sides, but only PouletSansTete stepped on it, and that was a very rough situation going from there. So PouletSansTete sadly did lose that second match due to very bad circumstances. I've received a message from PouletSansTete. He's gonna take a quick bathroom break. And he's going to be back soon. We're going to get to reset both our runners, but wow, that's a very interesting match as well. Do call that, well, it was not necessarily a famine seed per se. Actually, the tools were pretty good, but
all right.
Yeah,
but
honestly, Septic has a great
seed.
Definitely, yeah. Starting from where Poulet didn't have any resources or tools to run with CUNY. He started to spend resources so quickly, and at some point it was just dry. That's things that happen, and that's actually the kind of seeds or the kinds of runs I like to watch the most. Very generous seeds are also very fun because they tend to reach 40, and that's extremely exciting. But the one where you can see the runner rack their brain around trying to find solution with very limited resources is something that, like, I don't know. I really adore that.
Excited.
Yeah, it really is.
You can really tell the skill of a runner from when they're in a bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like that there's anything to really completely avoid bad situations. There are things you can do.
Yes.
But you very often don't know you need to do them. Before you're in the situation you would prevent.
But it's also the fact that a very early situation might actually gives you a solution much later on. Like, you did talk about Poulet actually using a gold sword, throwing it at that first flame we saw on floor 2, and then hitting it to do the whole 20 damage and then kill it. That actually gave him an extra fire charge much later on that absolutely helped him get out of a bad situation. That was not enough, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's that very early decision. If I would have been in that situation, I would have probably used a fireball, and rightly so, right? But that was more clever. Throwing the sword was a better play at that point, and that's what I like to see. Like learning how to stretch an inventory, you know? It's like stretching $1 to make a meal for your family. Well, it's stretching inventory here. It's just learning how to making sure to run the best. It's not that using the fireball was not a good play. It was just not the best one, and that's what I like to see from both our runners.
I am still stunned that the bump trap did something.
It's crazy.
It is once in a blue moon that they accomplish anything at all.
Yeah.
Since they only work if you're carrying something like a monster or something's asleep in the room.
Yes, it wakes up every monster.
Cases.
Yeah. It's so rare, and it's you know, it's like kind of a lame trap, but it did something today. Can you? I don't know.
Very special. So we'll see. We shall wait and see when they get ready. I assume you have checked. You have told Septic that the seed is good.
Seed is nice. Waiting on Poulet to resetting. He's back from the bathroom break, so he's gonna be moving along very soon. We're gonna get on match 3, which is actually match point. I didn't actually update the score. Sorry about that. This is done. And this is match point actually, so it could be all done during that match, or Poulet could come back and absolutely, you know, bring it back and stretch the and maybe even reverse sweep, which is something that I would be very, very impressed to see. It's very hard in terms of pressure when you are losing 2-0 during a grand finals. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. If somebody is to make it, Poulet would definitely be the man. But the pressure you're already feeling from being, and most importantly, he's the reigning champion, so he's the one who's got something to defend. So he's got like nothing to win, everything to lose kind of thing. and being, losing 2-0 right now is a lot of pressure. I've been in that situation before. I can tell you all about it, and the pressure is
Yep.
immense. It's crazy. But yeah, you
can
gotta
be
just
pretty tilted
Oh yeah,
from the sort of luck from going from a situation where there is no winning to one where suddenly the world is reborn and you have to be reborn with it.
exactly. And that's very scary for sure to be in that situation. But that's part of being in a finals in a tournament. That's the type of skill, or not skill, but endurance or willpower that you need to have to get through that type of thing. And that's what I like. It's another skill you got to have on top of all the knowledge about the game and stuff like that. Is have the willpower to just get through that pressure. You can never remove it. It's always going to be there, but learning to deal with it is definitely something very important.
Mm-hmm.
All right, both our runners are ready. I'm going to do a quick countdown.
Alrighty, and then we will be getting them off and rolling once more for this match point. Anything could happen, and I want to see some anything. Poulet bewailing his ill fortune with some Z's.
Absolutely catching some Z's, because obviously it did die to a sleep drive. Or he didn't die to it, but that was the factor that was a deciding thing in the game for sure.
Mm-hmm. It was one of those situations like I was talking about earlier, where you get a wound and it festers, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, sadly.
The chain reaction of events that lead to your death started a long time ago.
Yeah, and Azure Dream, it's really, really true. Sometimes, again, we did talk about good moves that would have good repercussion later on. Using less resources on floor 1 did give him a fireball charge later on. It's also true for, bad item usage. And I'm not saying that SepticTank did bad item usage, but when he used that Holy Bell very early on during the first match and then went into a very bad room much later, he did get out of it using the Mahal Seed and taking a hit or two, which was great. But obviously, keeping that Holy Bell early would have made that room much easier and not taking a hit. So, escape please. Yeah, there we go. Some shades being thrown again, especially directly at me, and I think I deserve it in some kind of a way because I made those seeds. So,
The players look up and they say, Sand Knight, help us! And you look down and say, no.
That's not happening now. No, I'm not on Septic or PouletSansTete side. I'm on chat's side. I want them to have the best show they can, and the way I do that is making purple seeds.
Yep. Poulet accidentally getting into the habit of stutter stepping, that way of pressing the run button right as you step onto an item. That means that you don't run, but you also don't pick it up automatically as if you were running.
Exactly.
Okay. Both off to a good start with this draw.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to see. Unless bearing some misses, you will win that fight. Maybe with low HP, but it doesn't really matter. You will win a level up, and that level up is so huge. We didn't talk about it too much. We do talk about that a lot during our matches, but it's because it's so important. That first level up gives you a plus 10 max HP, going from 16 to 26. That's huge. No other level up will ever give you that many, and later on there's so diminished return in leveling up that you actually sometimes will only win 1 HP from leveling up, which is almost irrelevant.
It really is. There are times when, to be honest, I forget just how much those little level ups add up.
Oh yeah.
Because the diminishing turns kick in, and you stop paying attention or caring much about your level ups. And then, somehow or another, you're level, 13 or 14, and you have enough hits, enough HP to take 30 the HP hits and go, yeah, it's okay. I'm okay. It's interesting.
It really is. Like, you need to level up, because even though that's not a lot of HP per level, you need to have some amount of HP to at least sometimes take a hit, because maybe you'll miss, maybe you don't have resources or whatever. But it's so depressing seeing, if you look per level up, how much HP you gain. It's terrible. Yeah, like you gain
it's
10
like
on the
watching
first.
rain fill up. It's like watching rain fill up a bucket.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you'll need all that water, and yeah, at some point the bucket will be filled, but Jesus Christ. So, see, you gain 10 HP for that first level up, the second one already give you 4. It's more than, it's less than half.
It is really something.
Yeah, it's really bad. And again, sometimes you'll be like level 29, and you'll go from 29 to 30, and you'll gain 1 HP, and you're like, why did I even grind?
Such as Azure Dreams.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
The game
But-
that wants you to give up.
Yeah, and it's interesting because that's a big part of the game as well. It's really important for the game to make sure that the companionship of you and your pet is what makes you strong. CUNY could not win alone, even though pets are the only thing that keeps their level up. Co's level gets reset every time you leave and come back into the tower, but your pets retain their XP. So to a certain degree, yeah, at some point, CUNY could carry you alone, and that's how most casual plays tend to go. But the game makes sure that Co himself, or you as a player, stays extremely weak, even if you do level up. Your attack stat, defense stat, and HP stat never get very, very high. So it's very different because a lot of games is just like
that partnership.
Exactly.
And your monster can't really do. And while your monster can carry you, it needs you to tell it where to go. Otherwise, it is going to just do whatever. These guys are not very smart. At the end of the day, you still have to get Co across the finish line.
Sure, exactly. And obviously there are exceptions. If you go Arachne block, fuse together and evolve, yeah, obviously they don't even need you. Even if they're stupid, they're gonna get hit for 1 and then hit for a gajillion and win. But that's, very late
Until they
in...
run out of MP.
That's not wrong as well. Yeah, you're right.
Because while Co does not have any sort of built-in anti-turtling mechanics, the tower does in the form of earthquakes that will eventually throw you up. And your monsters do in the form of MP, which will always be going down.
Oh, yeah. And they don't even eat fruits if they find them on the floor when they're low on MP. You need to feed it to them, so... I don't know, they imagine when you're not there, actually.
Maybe there's something to be said about whether or not... Do you think that monsters hatched in the spawn where it would be able to survive in the wild is releasing a pet a danger to their well-being? Do you have to think ecologically responsibly in your pet ownership?
Well, there was a run category that was called the Pacifist Percent, where we tried to do a run without ever causing any kind of harm to any monsters, including yours, which is, so far, I think, the artist category yet, which has never been cleared to 40 yet. But, it's a lot of fun.
It is, in fact.
It's a little bit
There's a lot
masochistic.
of weird stuff you can do with this game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Poison Trap on PouletSansTete side leaves him with with a very low HP count. So he used CUNY to hit the Cyclone twice to make sure that he would not be on the receiving end of a Cyclone hit. And he's also stuck at running with a very low HP on places that could have had traps. But again, not much of a choice there. And he's off with some HP, some regeneration kicked in, so at least he's fine. At least he's fine.
A little bit. And
Yeah.
anything can still happen in here, and that's gotta be a scary prospect.
Yeah. He picked up the stream one, so I think we could see some water strat going on, which is a little bit of a setup thing, but once it's going, I think it's the strongest and the most consistent strategies we have in the community right now, even though it is not necessarily the quickest. It implies fighting a little bit more, gain some more levels, and most importantly, it requires a way to change CUNY's element, and which they'll get for sure on floor 12, but they could get earlier with a CC.
Well, they could get for sure on floor 12. The possibility definitely exists on floor 12.
Yeah.
Whether or not they will get it for sure on floor 12 is
Yeah,
a
sure.
different story entirely.
And I'm saying, like, assuredly, but that's not even true, because if there is an item room spawning on that floor, it could actually overwrite the color altogether. It did happen to me once during a tournament match, and that was not fun.
Also,
ouch!
hey,
Well, HP is a resource.
Oh, this is
Wow,
bad.
it's running thin.
This
Yeah.
this is bad. This is. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, he's gonna have to use it, though. No, I think he's dead. Oh, no, okay, wow. That's really low.
Okay. That is less than ideal.
Oh, does he have a life shield? Oh, yeah, okay, I thought it was wooden. It's live. That's why he survived, actually. A life shield is a decent defensive shield. Yeah.
Tickets could steal the Palumpa eggs. Well, actually, a ticket couldn't steal the Palumpa egg before floor 12.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
They don't exist before floor 12. So that is the one assurance that you get.
Yeah, exactly, at least. The good thing also is the sword spell, so the flame sword that would turn into the blizzard sword skill if we change Cuny's element. It actually scaled very weirdly. It gets a lot of power per level for the first 10 level, and then it slows down so bad that it's not even worth going from like 12 to 13. And that's pretty much the level you're gonna get if you not necessarily grind, but just fight your way through floor 12. So when you get that blue color, it's actually pretty much time to switch anyway. So that's a good, you know, time.
Unless you're pretty low level, which can happen, but still. If you know what, if you're prepared for it, it'll serve you well. And water element works out alright. For any tricky mid monsters, there are fireballs, there are blaze balls, there are killer balls, and a lot of your heaviest hitters are going to be water or fire element anyway.
Yeah, wind is definitely some type of element for tricks, debuffs, buffs, and stuff like that. Or not even buffs, it's mostly water for that. But yeah, it's just like they are the tricky element, let's call it that. So generally in terms of raw fighting, they're really not the greatest. I'm not saying that there's no strong wind monster. Obviously they are. Zoos are terrible, for example. But again, it's mostly because of the paralysis thing. Very good bag strats here with SepticTank.
Golems are pretty tough.
Oh, right, yeah.
Anything that goes down in a single fireball, as long as you have that fireball, you kind of don't have to worry about how your pet fares as much.
Exactly, you're 100% right. You can just, you know, combine your great element and or your balls to make sure that you always have a solution to every situation. Alright, so fighting Dreamins on both sides, but on different floors. SepticTank is taking a decent, like making sure that he's fighting against those enemies and getting some level up, because he was very low. Oh, wow, they're both very low. Level 6 only?
Yeah.
They're taking a risk here.
It's a little scary. Griffins are pretty tough.
Yeah, if they get sniped by a griffin here, I don't think... Yeah, they will probably survive, but they'll get so low.
But it's gonna be a scary scene.
But again...
Krakens are gonna happen.
Yeah, so I think that's when they're gonna start to fight, not necessarily a lot, but against the weaker monster on each floor to get some XP, or use resources like fireballs to both kill and clear the path and get some experience from that. Because, to be honest, they need to catch up a little bit if they want to survive. Wow, Rise on Cuny is gonna be scary here. 24 damage, wow.
That's a lot.
Oh, it really is. Cuny probably was sitting on like 6 or 7 at that point. It doesn't have too much HP.
And then comes the Dreamer, who is a relatively...
Yeah. But still, they have a good shield, which is Life Shield. And they're still taking 4 damage from that Dreamer. I mean, That's not a lot of damage, but I mean, from a Dreamin's perspective, yeah.
Dreamins, you're used to seeing them deal 1-2 damage.
Yeah.
4 is an unexpectedly large amount.
Yeah, exactly. They've been, like, the runners have been changing the way they play the game a lot, and they get to higher floors with a lower level all the time. They're stretching that line by learning more and mastering the game more. We talked about that earlier. And obviously, like, we were scared when we would reach floor 10 on level 7, and now they're doing it with 6, and someday they'll do it at level 5 and stuff like that, you know? Just always trying to make the most out of everything and be a little bit faster. That's how speedrunning works, right? It's just gonna get so much more volatile for a game that's already volatile enough.
Volatile.
Yeah. So that's really interesting.
I would say, maybe one of the most volatile games I see run on a semi-regular basis.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of roguelikes are played in the speedrunning fashion for sure. Some of them are even built for that, with that in mind, but I don't know a game that's as crazy, I think. I don't know. Like, Ancient Cave is also in the very same vein, and it's also very volatile, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. This game's crazy.
It's nuts. You have so many tools. The enemies have so many tools. There are so many little rules and edge cases. And there is no for sure routing and...
Yeah.
This is when you do this manipulation. It's all about recognizing what you have and what you can do in the specific situations that you're in.
Yeah. We saw on PouletSansTete's side get the blue collar, but I think he already has used the Palumpa. I didn't see it in his inventory anyway. Maybe it's still there. I didn't catch it. But that would mean that actually that blue collar is not going to be used as a fusion tool to change Cunie's element to water. Even though he's got a stream 1, which is nice, but maybe we won't see water strategy here.
Maybe not. We will see what the game gives him to work with. Also, that's unpleasant.
What he gave him is Krakens. That's what he gave him.
Luckily, they went down that hallway. Thank goodness for predictable enemy hallway movement.
Yeah. Steve talked about in stream, in chat about the fact that there are some weird generation issues that can happen. Both asleep. There you go.
Goodbye.
All right, he's fine. But that was a little bit scary, or scarier than it needed to be. But yeah, speaking of what we were talking about earlier, the development problems, not development problems, generation problems in how the games try to make a room. Sometimes it'll happen that you're gonna have traps in corridors. It's very rare, but it does happen. We've seen it actually lately. I think it was on Wooga stream.
Walls.
Yeah, or items in corridors as well. It happens when the game decides that place is gonna be a room, and then for some reason it cannot become a room because of some, limitation that the game asks itself to not just build, weird rooms that makes no sense. And so they still place the items in the trap in there. It doesn't happen often because there's supposed to be some, limitation that prevents that, or rules that prevents that. But sometimes, the rules just don't go in the right order, and it still happens. So you cannot even feel exactly safe in the corridors about the traps. It shouldn't happen, but sometimes it does.
Sometimes it does. That is the nature of Azure. Sometimes it does.
Yeah, in French we have an expression talking like there is a rule confirm, an exception confirms a rule. And PouletSansTete takes a deadly hit from a Garuda. That's very scary. They do it pretty hard. And if you don't have the resources to fight them, definitely that can end a run like it just did. Wow! I didn't see that one coming. I saw the situation was getting worse on PouletSansTete's side, but I didn't get to see the fighting here. The run is not finished yet, though.
It was. No, Septic still has to make it past floor 14.
Yeah. And he's already only on 11,
no
right?
Particular indication. I I think, no, 13. This might be 13.
Yeah, I think it was 13, yeah.
I saw
14
him
would have
get
been the
blue
other.
collar before the last elevator.
Sure, yeah. So that's that floor they need to clear, right?
And while Septic does seem equipped, things can still happen.
Oh yeah. It was really bad on PouletSansTete side. I didn't see how he got into that bad situation per se. But Septic could get in that kind of a pincer situation as well. Yeah, brutal RNG, Poulet, for sure. GG, by the way. Yeah, throughout the series. I mean, that was like the sleep traps and everything. That was terrifying. GG on the games, my friend. You played well. But yeah, RNG didn't want to be it today. And we have Septic in a very bad situation as well. The game is not done yet. That could be a miss. That's not a miss. So lucky for him. Let's go. Like the miss chance is very low, but that was a scary move. Medicinal herb. Yep.
That medicinal herb is going to come in pretty handy here. Getting him just a little bit further. He is probably expecting that he has a lot further to go, and that can matter.
Yeah, very good use of the exit loop here. You're always happy when you already choose, okay, I'm gonna go there next. And you say, you know what, I'm gonna use an exit loop instead. You do, and it shows the elevator on the other direction of where you were going at. Whereas when you use an exit loop and it shows the exit is where you were going to go anyway.
Funny if that were a Guru Day.
It would have been great. And GG. We have our tournament runner, tournament victor, GG SepticTank dethroning the headless chicken. Can you believe it? Poulet, you've played so well. You have been a great runner, but SepticTank shows that he is actually your champion. GG Septic.
Congratulations.
Et Poulet sans trône, absolutely.
Oh. These things happen.
Wow. I didn't know that I would be alive to see Poulet actually dethroned. Septic has played wonderfully. We definitely need to... oh, I think we have somebody that's listening. Tournament victor. GG Septic. There is a loop. Dethroning the headless chicken. Can you believe it?
Somewhere.
Poulet, you've played so well. You have been a great right now. But SepticTank shows that he is actually... There's no reason. Yeah, there's no reason for me either. Septic. And it just started now.
Is it the restart?
Et Poulet sans trône. Absolutely.
We'll figure that out. We'll figure this out somehow.
Sure,
okay,
absolutely.
Something happened. Problem has been solved.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we will probably invite both our runners to join in a little bit of an interview. Definitely, especially during a tournament finals like this one. So if they want to grace us with their presence, we definitely want to talk about that. That was a very quick, very intense tournament finals. That's the way I like them for sure. Making sure that both our runners gave it their all, no beating around the bush. That was definitely something very interesting to get as the tournament finals. Yeah, they could have stretched the time, played safer, reached 40 every time. They both can do that. We all know that. But I like to see them go as quick and as intense as they can. Welcome, PouletSansTete.
Absolutely.
Well
Good
played.
job.
Thank you.
That was some rough luck on your side.
Yes, once again, yes. I have to agree.
The Send Night Seed has not been good for you, my friend.
Apparently not. Who could have guessed?
Yeah, there was some discrepancies in terms of like you did walk onto that sleep trap. Septic didn't. There was some differences there. Though there was some traps you both did hit, like those go up traps. Just one step away from the ball. I really like that one.
Yeah,
it happened on both screens. That was lovely.
It was so frustrating, man. Like, oh, a ball. Never mind.
No balls. But yeah,
No
that was a
balls,
very
yeah.
intense run. That's what I was talking about just before you joined, and I loved it. I love that both of you guys gave it like no safety, no nothing, just rush and run. I assume knowing that you know you're playing against add a factor in that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wouldn't play like this against a newer player. But in Septic, I had to go fast, and the tower told me, "You might go fast, but not far."
Yeah, it really did. But stretching those experience point and being so low level, we were talking about that during the match me and Deme. It's definitely something that every time we get to master and get better at reaching floor 10 on level 8, and then maybe I can do it at 7. Maybe I can reach floor 10 and be only level 6. That's what makes a great runner, because obviously you gain speed, but it makes the game extremely difficult. I love seeing how both very intense you were on trying to be as quick as you could.
I think level 6 on floor 10 is fine if you still have fireball charges.
Sure.
And you haven't been forced to use them on, let's say, for example, a colony of U-boats.
Aside that, either way, congratulations, Septic.
Congratulations!
Champion.
Thank you, everybody.
Wow, our new champion taking the throne from the Poulet himself, SepticTank. GG, my friend.
Thank you. That was those were some wild seeds.
Yeah.
It really was. There was a little bit of discrepancies in terms of like the traps you guys both hit, but you got served very bad pincer situation as well on both sides that were terrible. Yeah, the monsters were really making sure that it would come both sides to you, and yeah, you had pretty rough situation to get out of. Talk to me, Septic, a little bit about your experience during that final set, like the 3 matches themselves. Like, I really want to know what's your thought process going through these.
In the first seed, I felt like I was way behind. I was on like, I think when I got to 430, I was like 40 minutes in, and that had me pretty stressed out. The Naplises were so insane on floor 29, and
yeah, they were relentless. I actually died on 29 about 40 minutes in because I couldn't find my way out, and I had to use all of my resources to get through the Naplaces and the snowmen. And I think I explored the entirety of the last 3 floors, which are pretty much the worst floors of the tower. Because you can't fireball anything, they all resist to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no resources left, and I also felt I was behind.
It's what actually the first match, especially, you changed the lead many times. That was definitely like the most intense match in that sense. That's the one that reaches the highest floor as well, but it's most importantly, like I said, you did change the lead all the time. That was very nice to see in that sense. And yeah, those Naplises, man, they really didn't want either of you to go anywhere.
Play nice. I forget which one of you it was that had this point where they were sandwiched between the 2 Naplises, and then one of them walks into a room and falls asleep.
that was me.
That was Septic, yeah.
Such a resource drain.
Yeah, I had to dump 3 pillar balls because, like, I had to go by that sleeping Naples. Like, it was blocking new rooms. Like, the elevator had to be in that direction. And so I used 3 pillar balls on the Naples behind me. And I think I even binded him to do that, like, to make sure he didn't catch up to me.
Yeah.
So many resources dumped right in there, and then after the Napolis wakes up and I proceed into that room, there's a Maneva blocking the doorway, the only other doorway out.
Yeah, they weren't playing nice. Obviously, send night seeds for the tournament, so I guess that's where it's at. That explains everything. But...
Yep.
Makes it exciting.
It was. Congratulations, Septic. I know it's been long in the coming. I know you're quite happy to be there, but I mean, you've been grinding this game so much lately, getting that sub 30-minute, and now the championship for the Rock Me tournament, the 3rd. That's so great. I'm so proud of you, man.
Thank you very much.
It's really cool to see happen. And next tournament, we will have a new style of matchup.
Oh yeah.
Trying to dethrone Septic. And that
Oh
will be a
yeah,
change of
I will be
pace.
an outsider again. Yeah, feels good, man.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Everything to gain, nothing to lose, Poulet. That's gonna be nice to see you in that position. It's been a while.
It's a much better mindset, man.
Yeah, I agree. Well, yeah, we were talking about the pressure of like, being on the throne, having to defend your title, and being 2-0 during the setup of the third match, and that's gotta be a harsh mindset to be in. The willpower required to power through that. And I know you've got the mindset to be out of it, but there had to be some kind of a tilt there. I don't want you to expend too much on it, but I assume it was like a tough moment at that time, right?
Yeah, there were some big PG-13 fudge moments where I was pretty unhappy about what was happening. I think retrospectively, the ball with the trap was quite funny. Because I was like, oh, yeah, ball, no.
Nope.
But like the slip trap was not funny.
No.
The monster traps, not the monster traps, the monster trains pinching me all the time were not funny. And I think I haven't seen Septic play, so I can't say for sure, but I think I might have hit a higher trap density once again.
At least the traps you hit was definitely like you had 2 or 3 very bad traps. Septic had like 1. So I don't know about the density itself, but the results of those traps were definitely.
But also, I mean, I'm not complaining, right? I don't want to take away from
Sure.
Septic. I'm sure he played very well, and as you said, he grinded the game recently. I haven't, and he gets what he deserves. So means that next time his head will be, to be taken.
Oh yeah,
nice.
absolutely. I don't know that I should talk about what's coming up, but I think I will still touch on it.
Yep.
There is another tournament in the making already. This one might be a little bit more complicated to make work. I'm not the one organizing it, nor was I organizing this one especially. This was Shawnee7188, a member of our community's tournament. It was absolutely wonderful to both be on commentary and I assume to play in it. Thank you very much, Shawnee, to make this tournament itself. It was a blast anyway, making sure that it was commentated and being on SpeedGaming. But the next one is going to be from new organizers in the names of Chai and Revens. And they are making a tournament using a tool
That'll be a delightful one.
I think so, yeah. They're coming back to Random Toolkit, which was our prior tournament, which is going to get a random pet replacing CUNY and some other random things going on in the background. That's going to be fun. But they bring a new thing, and it's a tool we've had in the community for a long time. The next tournament will have AD state display, which is a tool that lets you know some information of the game in a program you can have open on your desktop. And that's going to be...
wouldn't normally have access
Sure,
to.
Sure, exactly. It's the same information you would
laid
get.
out much more tidily, we will be able to keep better track of things like HP and MP on monsters. And if you want to know more about this tournament, if you want to be keep abreast of signups, do check out the Azure Dreams Discord. I have dropped a link in the chat for that.
Absolutely. So that next tournament is going to be nice because chat will always have the option to see the inventory and the HP of both Goes and its pet. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see that tournament. But enough about that. Let's talk about this one. It was a great adventure. It was a great a tournament itself. I had a great time, a blast here. Yeah, we have a new winner. We have a new reigning champion. Can't wait to see Septic Defendant's Throne is in the next tournament. But wow, what an adventure.
Yeah, good job to everybody. Thank you both for putting on a fantastic show today. Thank you, Stan Knight, for joining me. I know it was a little last minute.
Oh, no, that's fine. It's always so much fun to cast with you, Deme. Thank you very much.
Thank you to the folks at SpeedGaming for helping us air this all. And thank you all for watching.
Thank you very much, everyone. See you into the next tournament. And between that time, join our Discord and chat with us. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you then.
Have a good one.
Bye.